Today on Daring Abroad,
There's been a big movement about people appreciating their culture.
meet the Kenyan fashionista in the United States sharing African culture, one design at a time.
I want to show people that there's so many beautiful things about Kitenge.
This as more opportunities open up for Kenyan nurses abroad, courtesy of this Missouri-based couple.
All the nurses that have done diploma qualify to become nurses in the US.
Indeed, today's show is all about celebration of culture and opportunities abroad, and you are just in time for it. My name is Michael Zimanje. Let's start the show.
Bags, jewelry and Ankara, all sourced from Africa and all sold in the United States. Welcome to Tivana World, a fashion brand based in Kansas City, Missouri, specializing in the promotion of African fashion, culture, and handcrafted products. It is the brainchild of Kenyan-born Suzanne Wanja Gunn.
I have such a passion for fashion and design. So with Tivana, when we started Tivana, I'm a big proponent of living naturally as well as health and wellness. That's what I do, working in community health. And so when I was looking for a name, I wanted something that rhymed with coming of nature. For me, when I think of Kenya, I think of nature, I think of how much we work with things that are upcycled from the ground, the beads, the wood, that's where my mind was.
Yes, coined from the Hebrew word for love of nature, Tivana World is all about celebrating all things natural, pure, unique and authentic. It is the best of African fashion, but with a modern twist.
There's been a big movement about people appreciating their culture, where they come from, being more aware about, being black and being African, So that in itself has inspired me to start putting this fashion out there. Not just for us, but putting it out there in terms of starting to do those big fashion shows where they may necessarily never have seen African design.
As mentioned earlier, most of Tivana's accessories are sourced from African artisans with the goal of intertwining cultures and promoting inclusivity.
I go to Kenya specifically to get my materials.
Okay.
We've worked with people that organize the material for us. When they get new materials in the market from West Africa, they call us, we organize the materials, and then we get them. And then I realized as I was doing the fashion shows that I needed unique necklaces and pieces that actually will go well with those fashion show dresses. And so I started talking to artisans, because in the past, like my first few trips, I would go to Kariakor, places like those, and also, gather my necklaces and things like that. But then I noticed over time that I needed to make this specialized. People love unique things. They love unique necklaces, unique bracelets, unique everything. They want it to look different from what they see every day. And so I realized I can form a relationship with these artisans and also start working with them on designs. In other words, to Sishone, let's not make like the things that are same as everyone. What if we do this? What if we make it straight? What if we put a cross that looks like this?
Speaking of sourcing from artisans based back in Kenya, Wanja prides in the fact that she's been able to create a good working relationship that benefits all parties involved.
A lot of these people are very passionate. I don't know if you've ever talked to a lot of these Kenyan artisans. They were born into it. So it's not like they just picked up because they need to make money. And so I realized with us actually getting these, we're paying them 100%, which is a huge deal. They're not just getting penny to the dollar, and because we are also going there to source from them, and we pay what they charge. So in other words, they are benefiting. In as much as we are also selling it here, maybe at a little bit of a different price, because we have to consider shipping, we have to consider the marketing, the overhead cost, all those things. We still support them 100%. They get frequent orders from us, and they are very, very grateful that they're able to source their stuff out to us.
Since incorporation, Wanja has empowered many artisans from all over the 254, from Ukambani to Nakuru, Meru to deep in the heart of Maasai land. The best part being the warm reception by locals here.
My typical clients are everyone. But I will note this, that we've seen this big shift of a lot of, even Black Americans that are starting to learn about their background, their culture, their origination, where they come from. So you will start to see there's this new movement of people wanting to know where they come from. And part of that also includes fashion. Fashion has a history of how it started and how the fabric started. So a lot of people are starting to ask for things that are like this. Now, I do have some Kenyan clients as well. People that may not necessarily have the time to get their clothes in Kenya, or they're looking for a unique design. That design that, looks different, fits different. Their kids want, that personal touch that they may not be able to get from standing in front of a tailor or fundi in Kenya. And so we are wanting to supply that modern African art and also giving our fabric a different artistry to where you didn't see. Like, for example, the fashion show that I'm getting ready to do in Omaha is going to be different. I'm using all Ankara fabrics, Kitenge fabrics, but we're going to do an African masquerade.
Oh.
Who said we cannot have an African
I've never heard
masquerade?
of an African
Exactly.
masquerade.
That's what we want to do. We want to show people that there's so many beautiful things about Kitenge, so many beautiful things about how you can wear it, how you can modernize it.
It is important to note that to start a business in Missouri requires one to first attain a retail sales tax license from the Missouri Department of Revenue, a federal employer identification number from the IRS if your business has employees, and obtain various permits that include health and safety, environment, building and construction, among others. You may also require a professional and occupational license depending on your industry, not forgetting insurance. Despite attaining all these, Wanja still had a few hurdles to jump over, a major one being fear of appreciating other people's culture.
One that I think you'll hear a lot of is culture misappropriation. And the reason they say that is because a lot of times you may see somebody not of your color wearing it. They are loving the culture. They want to know about the culture. They want to know what is this means, and to me, I feel like there's a mission right there. And so I think there's that misconception that you cannot wear something because it belongs to something. Now, there is a specific culture and fabrics that are very particular to certain tribes, to certain cultures. And those, I would say, it just takes education. So I'm a big believer in let's start educating, let's start promoting people to learn what it means to wear those kind of fabrics and colors.
26 years in the US and still going strong, a trait that has defined Wanja's life since arriving here back in 1998. Who would have thought that the family nurse practitioner with a bachelor's degree from the University of St. Mary and a master's from Graceland University would be making waves in America's fashion industry by promoting her heritage?
My message is for us to be able to embrace our fashion. I can promise you that there's places you can go where you cannot wear this because you may be judged different, you may look different. But I can assure you when we get to the bigger stages where they get used to seeing it and they see it all the time, it becomes acceptable, it becomes norm. I believe that giving back should always be part of your servitude as a person. It doesn't mean that I don't gain profit from doing this. It also means that you are promoting a greater message more than you. I am here. When people come shop this jewelry, when people come shop these fabrics and these things, they're very clear where it comes from. Even if you look at our earrings, we usually have a message in the back there about the people that make it. Because we want them to understand that we're helping somebody, make a living, improve their lifestyle, But at the same time, there's a message to be had, which is let's open up those commercial trades, and also let's open up Kenya to the world.
Many thanks to Susan there in Kansas City, telling the African story through our traditional attires. Now it's time for us to go on a short break, but when we return, we shall have more about opportunities for Kenyan nurses abroad, as well as things you need to know before investing in real estate in Kenya. Welcome back. Today's show is all about opportunities both home and away. In the first part, we took you to Kansas City and saw how a remarkable lady is changing the face of fashion and what people think about African fashion there in the United States. Right now, it's all about investment tips by Centum Real Estate.
Investment tips with Centum Real Estate. Centum Real Estate. Real estate with real experience.
Thank you so much and welcome to this segment. For record purposes, kindly tell us who you are and what you do.
My name is Mildred Mwebi. I'm a digital sales lead at Centum Real Estate. Thank you for having me.
Kenyans are very interested in investing in real estate, both those located in Kenya and those from the diaspora. So as you think about investing in property, what does the process look like?
When thinking about investing in Kenya, the process can vary from one developer to another. But for Centum, we'll begin, once you've identified what property you want to own with us. If it's an apartment, we'll begin by asking you for your legal identification documents. That one will be the ID, the KRA PIN, your contact, email address. Then we'll prepare an offer letter based on the unit that you've selected. When you're preparing for the offer letter, we also agree with you what kind of payment plan you're willing to take up. Is it a flexible installment payment plan, or you're purchasing the unit under a mortgage? If you're purchasing the unit under mortgage, there's a different pricing for that, usually slightly higher than someone who's purchasing through flexible installment plan. So once we issued you with an offer letter, you'll go through it. If you have your legal, we also advise they also go through the paperwork with you, and then you will sign. The offer letter is valid for 14 working days. When you should execute, we execute, and then you do the down payment. So after the offer letter, you proceed to the sales agreement, which also should be executed on both ends. That will guide on how we are going to create the final ownership document, which is the sublease. So once you've signed and the project is complete, we are going to start the registration of the unit under your name. So once you finish payment of the unit and you've signed, we register, and then we give you the keys to your house.
Investment tips with Centum Real Estate. Centum Real Estate. Real estate with real experience.
Vital information there from Centum Real Estate. With that out of the way, let's go back to Kansas City in Missouri, where a lovely couple is creating job opportunities for Kenyan nurses.
It is no secret that one of the most successful ways of daring abroad is through healthcare. This is due to increased demand for medical practitioners by Western countries. As a result, stakeholders, both government and private sector, have been actively engaged in meeting this demand. One such example is Element Staffing. Based in Kansas City, Missouri, Element Staffing has been at the heart of identifying opportunities for medical practitioners, more so nurses, here in the US. Owned by Kenyan-born Bill and Beverly Tanui, Element Staffing has been recruiting nurses for some years now.
So Element Staffing Agency is an agency that we provide staff nurses to hospitals here in the United States. And based on the shortage that we have in the United States, is a big shortage of nurses. And we have plenty of nurses outside of the country that need to come here and work. And in doing so, we are hoping that we can help those nurses grow and develop their skills. Even when they come this way, we know that they will get jobs. And in turn, when they get jobs, they can also assist our communities back home. Yes.
Okay, why did you call it elements, Beverly?
He has always thought about elements of hope.
Elements of hope.
Yes, but it's quite a long name. So we decided to cut it down to just elements. It's the key of why we survive. Elements is what makes the whole component. And so if we can just chip into that one element and be useful in that area, then we have met a big need.
And it's something unbreakable also, right?
Yes,
I can say you are literally in your element. We say that you are in your element. So who are you looking for exactly when you say you are recruiting nurses? Kenyans are watching you and they really want jobs. What's the qualification?
So we are looking for nurses, nurses who have a desire to come and to transition and come to work in the United States. The qualifications for doing this is eventually they have to pass something called NCLEX, NCLEX examination. Once you pass that exam, then we as a company take over basically, but we actually guide you through the steps all the way to doing your NCLEX. We will hold your hand, we will guide you through the steps, and we'll get down to NCLEX. Once you pass the NCLEX now, the immigration services take over and file for your transitioning to come this way. Our business is registered in the state of Missouri, and we actually work directly with hospitals. We do not. That is what helps us is that we work directly with the hospitals. The hospitals tell us we need 20 nurses. Can you give us 20 nurses? We say yes. So we go out, we find 20 nurses, we send them to the hospitals, and they are directly hired into the hospitals that we send them to. So basically nurses come here on a green card basis.
Green card.
And they can come with their family members. And that is the best part of transitioning this way. Even though you have to go through that process, it's a process that can be done. So many of those nurses have done it. We've recruited about 40 to 50 nurses that are here already. So that is the things that we've been doing.
So I don't know, there are different levels of training in nurses in Kenya, diploma, what and so on. So what level?
So all the nurses that have done diploma qualify to become nurses in the US.
And above.
Because they're very skilled. Their skill level is way higher than any other skill that I can think of. So if you have a diploma, you can qualify to become a nurse in the US.
So how do you do it? You have a representative in Kenya or an office in Kenya?
So we have an office in Kenya. We have an office in Eldoret. We have an office over by just the road going down to
Kisumu or where?
To Kisumu Highway. Yes. And also there are the road that goes to, can you remind me again? Langas.
So
right there by Langas, we have an office there.
What's the name of the building?
The name of the building, so we have as element staffing that is broadcasted there for people to know.
The signage there.
Correct.
What made you venture into this?
This has been a work in progress, and it started way back before we even became what I do right today. So over the years, we have always tried to improve the healthcare system at home. We have done multiple things. One, we have sent medical equipment to Kenya. Two, in 2019, we had an opportunity to bring nurses from Nandi County with the help of the county executives, Stephen Sang, and with the help of Ruth Koech, helping us to bring those nurses here to the US. When the nurses came here to the US, the goal was for them to study and learn how the American system is done, and then go back and train the rest when they go back. And that was a successful project that we did. So when they went back, the pandemic of course happened, and everything else just kind of changed things, right? So now from there, we've seen that there was a big shortage of nurses based on nurses quitting, just the intense levels of people just being in a stressful environment caused people to move out of nursing. So now there's a big shortage. Almost about roughly 250,000 nursing shortage in the US per year for the next very many years, right? So with that said, we approached the same hospital that helped us bring these nurses to come and shadow, and said, hey, how about we hire those nurses back that came here? And they said, wow, that's a wonderful opportunity. So I said, yes, we can bring them back, and we've been working on bringing them back and even more. So we brought the 10 that came and even more that have actually applied and wanted to come and work in the US.
Okay.
Fortunately for the Tanuis, their work has been made a bit easier with the Kenyan government setting up structures for seamless transition. One way is through the opening of a Pearson VUE test center in Westlands, Nairobi County that will aid in the recruitment of nurses to the United States and Canada.
The Pearson VUE Test Center is a regional hub for administering the globally coveted National Council licensure examination. It is the second in Africa, after South Africa, for certifying and licensing of nursing professionals.
Now, another service that Element Staffing offers is acclimatization.
When you get here, what we do is we also try to hold your hand in terms of making sure that you acclimate to this environment, you assimilate to the community also, and then we also try to make sure that you have what is needed to move on. Unlike most people that have come here, we've gotten reports from people that have come through other various agencies. They come and they could be sent down to like North Dakota, anywhere that probably don't have a community like the one we have in Kansas City. So that becomes challenging in a new environment. You don't know people, you know the rules, the regulations, it can be challenging. But we as Element Staffing, our goal is to change how recruitment agencies are done.
According to Bill, who landed in the US in 2005, and Beverly, who landed in 2014, coming to the US as a nurse is quite elementary, especially through Element Staffing. Theirs is about assisting their fellow countrymen, but there is more than meets the eye.
The vision is to go global, to make sure that we can get nurses from all across Africa, and also even internationally, other countries as well. But the ultimate goal also is that when those nurses come this way, we also want to make sure that we can go back the other way at some, and give back in terms of medical missions. We do medical missions. We can also try to make sure that we have partnerships between hospitals here and hospitals there, so that we know that we can train people here, train people on that side as well. So it's not all lost. We know that we need nurses here, but we know that also there is other things that are needed as far as healthcare systems and healthcare work that is needed in our country.
The primary school sweethearts from Nandi County are clearly in their element, thriving through helping others. And as we conclude, their parting shot is go for it, because you don't have to walk alone as you reach for the stars, especially with them holding your hand.
And that's daring abroad.
Quite an amazing job from Bill and Beverly in Kansas City. And with that, we have come to the end of the show today. But before I leave your screens, we have amazing investment opportunities for you, courtesy of Centum Real Estate. Yes, Cascadia Apartments, ideal for the middle class in Nairobi. 1 and 2 bedroom apartments with state-of-the-art amenities, including a convenient retail center, ample parking, and so much more. All quite affordable with flexible payment plans. With that, we are done. Many thanks for watching, and many thanks for the support you keep on giving us. As Chams Media, we even saw this support in our recently concluded Australia tour with the Daring Abroad Investment Forums. Keep tabs, because next we shall be in Germany, in the UK, in the USA and Canada. But for now, stay safe.